My next guest, Dan Varroney, economic strategist, founder and CEO of Potomac Core. Welcome to the James Show. I want to talk a little bit about the economy because I see some people doing these reports where they talk about how the economy's bad. But when I go through it and listen to all 3 minutes of the segment on CNN or the local TV stations here, Dan, they don't talk about how the stock market's at record all-time highs. They don't talk about how unemployment is below average, doing pretty good right now. They don't talk about how GDP growth is above 4% for the first time in a long time if you get out the COVID convulsions. And what would you say, Dan? Are you more pessimistic or optimistic about the economy?
Well, James, thank you so much for having me on your program. And I'll start out by saying that I am not one of the boo birds about the economy. I tend to see things far more optimistically, and it's because I'm a data-based guy, right? So I was incredibly energized by the third quarter first read GDP. 4.3% came in much better than expected. Consumption is up 3.5%. Exports are up almost 9%. Our savings rate is 4.2% versus the average of 2%. That kind of says that we're doing better than some might say in the media, right? And then to take a few steps further, our gasoline prices are coming down. I'll say that again. Our gasoline prices are coming down, and they're coming down because President Trump is doing, and his administration are doing, a massive regulatory unwind. And that massive regulatory unwind from permitting to drilling and so on and so forth is helping bring down the price of gasoline. Consumers are able to leave the gas pump with money in their pocket after they fill their car. They can take that extra money in their pocket and they can buy groceries and they can pay rent, which, by the way, rents are coming down.
Well, Dan Varroney,
so I'm just going to start there.
Yeah, so I'll play devil's advocate here. There's still some people that are concerned that all these tariff and trade deals are not worked out. There's still some countries that are eating big tariffs. It's, crushing our whiskey exports, and a few other certain industries are feeling the heat. What do you say to those skeptics?
So I think it's a fair concern. I live and work in a community that I hear all sides on the issue. And I will tell you that I looked back in the first Trump administration, and in the first Trump administration, the tariffs had what I define as a de minimis effect, and it was about a 1% impact in terms of pricing. And I'm encouraging everybody to wait until the end of the first year, meaning April 2026, and let's see where things stand. But I will tell you, that's important to keep in mind. You got to let the full year play itself out, see where the data is, and then we can at least have a conversation backed on. So the way I define it, James, is we want to converse and act on what we know versus what we think, and that's what a year's worth of data will give us.
Well, Dan, you do a lot of consulting for a small businessman trying to make the next step. Do you think 2026 is going to be a good chance for expansion of our small businesses?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I spent 50 hours doing interviews with 35 different small business owners in 12 different industries, and it was by far the most energizing thing I've ever done. So I wrote Re-Energizing Economic Growth, rather. It came out late September. It's on Amazon. But what I learned is that these businesses are poised and ready to invest and to grow. They're absolutely excited about the expensing component of the big, beautiful law. It's the 100% expensing component for plants and equipment. And we've seen some very exciting news this year on capital expenditures, because small, medium, and large businesses on a double-digit basis have already began to make those investments. And typically, those types of investments at that level are a bellwether for what we'll be hiring the following year. So you've got that. You've got the tax laws. Small businesses are absolutely thrilled with the regulatory unwind. Regulations in the last administration totaled about $1.4 trillion in impact. They were very difficult for small businesses to pay for compliance. They're they're far more optimistic now than they were a year, 2, 3 years ago.
Yep.
And I think small businesses are seeing 2026 with an optimistic set of eyes.
All right. Well, Dan Varroney, I love that optimism. If you want to pick up his book, Reimagining Industry Growth, go to PotomacCore.com. And if you're a small businessman, I hope you expand wildly in 2026.